What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen. Today I am here with the definitive goofiest UFC fighters tier list. These are the biggest goofy goobers. The way that they're on some Kendrick type shit, the way that they dress, the way that they walk, the way that they fight. These are the goofiest fighters to watch in the UFC. I'm gonna rank them today on a tier list. Let's get straight into this shit, man. It's coming in hot, bro. Coming in like with a S tier level candidacy. I'm gonna put Yuri Prochazka in the A tier. This guy, I mean, bro literally has no idea what he's gonna do in a fight, let alone his opponent. He's emoting the entire time. When you play UFC video games, you're meant to hold RT or R2 to block. This motherfucker does not do that, bro. He's literally just moving the joystick around. Pause. He's moving the joystick around, just fucking moving his head. Flying knees, spinning elbows, giant antenna fucking haircut. Gets on the mic. I am just guy from Czech Republic. And I bring storm to this fight of pure autism, bro. Okay, he's a fucking legend of the game. Everyone loves Yuri Prochazka, and a lot of the reason why they love him is because he is an absolute goofball. He's one of the most like unique, interesting fighters to watch in the UFC. And when you're calling somebody unique, you're calling somebody one of a kind, you are calling them a goofball on the low. All right, so let's chuck Yuri Prochazka in at the A tier. Like I said, this guy's borderline S tier, dude. Let's move on to somebody fighting this weekend who he's a sneaky little candidate for the Goofy Goober of the Year award. I mean, this guy is putting up some goofy performances in a couple of fights, but I think some of it is stylistic and it is effective. So if you're an effective goofball, I'm going to put you higher up the tier list. Yeah, but if you're more effective than you are goofy, you're going to go down the tier list a little bit. I'm going to put Buckley in at the D tier. He's going to make his debut on the tier lists today. He's been calling me out for months trying to get in a video. This guy's calling out fucking Conor McGregor. I'm not joking. He dead ass is trying to fight Conor McGregor. Who's going to tell this guy? But yeah, I like Buckley. He's a fun dude to watch. He jumps around. The fuck was that? There's a motorbike just sped past my house. Anyways, I'm just gonna I'll edit that out. My bad. But yeah, Buckley. This guy's going in the D tier. Absolute goofball. The way he's jumping around, flying around. You know, the shit that he pulls off. But he's not like entirely based around that. Like he does have moments where he's actually trying to fight, and he is aggressive. He is working quite well at the moment. I would say Buckley makes a good debut here in the D tier. Moving on though, a man that Buckley fought, and when these two fought, it was literally like a Looney Tunes type fight. I'm putting Holland in the B tier, bro. This guy, like I said, him versus Buckley, they're fucking flopping around, flying around, slapping each other, jumping. They're trying to learn the fucking controls. That shit was crazy, dude. Holland fights like a Looney Tunes character, win or lose, unless he decides to stop trying. But when he is trying, he is quite goofy to watch. His style is quite awkward. I think B tier is pretty fair for him. He's an underrated contender in this category, in my opinion. A lot of people talk about the obvious choices like Yuri, Johnny Walker, Dricus, guys like that. I'd say Holland is almost in that territory. He gets glazed a lot for his technique. I don't see it, bro. Let's move on to a former UFC champion who goofed and gaffed his way to the top. Fucking put up some crazy performances, some crazy highlights. Here's the fucking thing, you guys, right, dude? I'm a fucking goofy goober, dude. I'm a fucking goofball, you guys. I'm feeling pretty fucking silly, you guys. I'm putting Strickland in the C tier, bro. He's not as goofy and as awkward as Holland or Yuri Prochazka, but fuck, man, some of his head movements, some of those overhand rights he's going for, bro. This dude, what the fuck? Like, Strickland is the epitome of how the fuck does this work? You watch Strickland train, you watch him fight, and you're like, seriously, what is this guy doing? But it works, dude. The only reason he's not higher is because he does have good boxing fundamentals, and you can clearly see that. It's just more his defense that's quite goofy. But he does make up for it with a really good jab. He's got good right hands, like down the middle. It's when he goes looping punches that he looks quite goofy, but more often than not, it's the defense. It's not really his entire game that looks like a goofball, and he has a cool personality to make up for it. So I'm going to put Strickland in the C tier, but he's a solid competitor. Let's move on to another fighter in the middleweight division, and this may be a shock to some of you guys because motherfuckers glazed this guy like crazy. They're calling him a monster. I don't see it, dude. I literally do not see it, bro. I'm putting fucking Ikram Aliskerov in the B tier. This guy's a fucking goofball, dude. This guy, I'm watching this guy fight. I missed his fight against Phil Hawes. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna cap. I missed his fight against Phil Hawes. I was busy. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. But yeah, and people were like, oh my god, Ikram Aliskerov, dude. Oh my god, this guy's a future champ. I watched the fight. This fucking goofball is jumping around the cage, slipping over, missing everything, just spamming. Like, Ikram, you know how I said before Kevin Holland or Yuri Prochazka doesn't hold the block button? Ikram Aliskerov holds down the power punch button and just spam strikes until he KOs you. I don't get it, dude. I don't get the hype. I don't see it. And you know, the only monstrous thing about this guy is he's like the Doodle Bob of fucking Islam Makhachev. You know how Doodle Bob's like the evil drawing of SpongeBob? This is an evil drawing of Islam Makhachev come to life, and I'm supposed to think this guy's a fucking marauder. He's flopping around the cage, flying knees, big goofy right hands. He's a B tier goofball, underrated goofball. Doesn't get enough credit for it. I'm throwing him on the tier list. This next guy, I mean, I legitimately considered putting this guy S tier, bro. I very much considered it, but he became a fucking UFC champion, so I feel like I can't legally put him in the S tier for being goofy. I'm putting Dricus du Plessis in the A tier. I made a video a year ago saying he was the worst contender at middleweight, and people comment on it, oh, this aged well. This aged like milk. Wow, this aged so bad. Did it? Did it? He looked like shit against Derek Brunson. I don't get, how is this guy This guy literally, he does everything wrong, but he still wins. He's such a Chad. I gotta respect it, dude. That's why I'm not putting him S tier, because it does work. And he's just using his physicality. He's a Chad. This guy's hitting WMMA takedowns on Robert Whittaker. This guy's pulling full mount. This guy's throwing spinning back fists at like completely out of range. The big ducking right hands he kept trying to do to Sean Strickland. He literally closes his eyes when he punches. He runs forward and spams punches and gets taken down. This guy might truly be the goofiest UFC champion in history. I love watching him fight, but come on, dude. Come on, bro. You have to admit, the thing that makes Dricus so funny is the fans that try and act like he's this genius of the sport. They're like, dude, Dricus is so technically good. Like, bro, you just don't get it, dude. You're just a hater, bro. I promise you he didn't pull full mount on fucking purpose. I promise you he didn't want to end up on bottom mount trying to do a lateral drop against fucking Brad Tavares. I promise you he didn't do that on purpose. But yeah, Dricus du Plessis, one of the goofiest fighters I've ever seen. And my favorite impression to do of him is I love imagining him coaching Cameron Simon, who's like, tries to fight like him, but is not the Chad that Dricus is. That's why he keeps losing. But yeah, Dricus and Cameron, you want to put your thumb inside your knuckle when you punch. You want to hide your thumb. Okay, Cameron, I just saw you hitting pads. Why are your eyes open? You want to close your eyes when you punch. Yep. Okay, you want to run at him with your chin up so he can't hit you. Yep, Cameron, you need to spin more. I just love the idea of Dricus du Plessis coaching Cameron Simon after chinning him and sparring. Anyways, let's move on. I'm putting Merab in the C tier, dude. Merab's a pretty goofy little guy, especially when he's getting rocked. He just does the chicken dance. His striking is quite goofy. He's like jumping up and down. He's jumping around. He's like, this is what I imagine Lucas Tracy strikes like, is like Merab. Just jumping around, hopping around, you know, smiling, just get chinned immediately, dive for the legs. But when he's wrestling, he's a fucking monster. He's a machine, as that's why they call him that. And he's got a pretty goofy personality. He's literally like a mountain goat as a human being. Like, this dude just sees anything tall. Brother, I gotta claim this, brother. I gotta claim this. Hey, one more thing, guys. I'm gonna claim this, guys. Hey, one more guys. One more climb of this tree, brother. So this guy's a fucking Chad, but he's going in the C tier. He's a little bit goofy. All right. Let's move on to my boy. Now, he's fighting for the belt very, very soon. He's usually pretty serious when he fights, but in his last fight, he was in a really silly, goofy mood. He was being a silly little guy. And I'm going to put him in the D tier. Dustin Poirier. This guy was having a fucking laugh in his last fight. It's kind of Chad that Benoit Saint Denis was like the favorite. Everyone thinks he's going to mog Poirier. I picked Poirier, by the way. Just saying. And I picked Anthony Smith. I'm just okay. But dude, Benoit Saint Denis, this marauder that's supposed to kill him. Dustin Poirier is doing fucking wind up comedy punches with this guy on his back. He's pulling the guillotines just for the fucking meme of it. And he's like, oh, fuck it, let me lock in, just chins him. So Poirier does have a bit of goofy to his style. He is a little bit funny to watch. He does like to fuck around sometimes. And like I said, in his last fight, he was in a silly, goofy mood. So I'm going to put him in the D tier. Ben was a fucking scumbag, dude. Hey, Ben was a scumbag, dude. He said I was being goofy, dude. All right, dude. The guy's a fucking dirtbag, man. Let's move on to, oh God. I don't like to talk about, tragedies on this channel. I like to keep things fun around here. Tony Ferguson, he's A tier. He's pretty goofy. Yeah, he was pretty goofy in his prime. He moved around really weird. He jabs with his chin up. He does rolls. He's a very goofy star to watch. God rest his soul. And yeah, respects to Tony Ferguson. Please retire. Let me move on to something a lot less depressing to talk about and think about. Brandon Moreno. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow, but I promise you guys, I'm going to be on the tier list, guys. I'm putting Brandon Moreno in the C tier. The way this guy moves around, I'm doing it right now. The way this guy moves around all schizo, like touching his face, and he's like moving his little hands, and he's like jabbing and fucking dodging and kicking, and he's moving around with his little like lips out. Like, I could wish you guys could see me, but I don't at the same time. But yeah, he does his little moving with his schizo. Very goofy style to watch. Very entertaining. Great flyweight. Wish he'd come back and fight Usyk. I think that'd be a sick fight. But yeah, I just want to shout out Brandon Moreno. Pretty goofy when it comes to the way that he fights, especially on the feet. When he's scrambling, he's a fucking monster, dude. He hustles so well. But yeah, on the feet, kind of weird style. I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit awkward to watch sometimes, but I'm only going to put him in the C tier. He did win a UFC belt. He does have some good highlights. He is a good boxer. So yeah, I can't really hate. 2 fighters left. One of them is a fucking UFC champion. So again, I can't put him in the S tier. And then there is the king of the goofballs in the S tier. I think you know who it is, dude. All right. But before we talk about him, Alex Pereira. This guy's a bit of a fucking goofster, dude. This guy's dancing around with his fucking leg kicks, and he's the reason that you know Alex Pereira's B tier, every single video you see of him shadow sparring, you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? What the fuck is this guy doing, bro? I don't know how he moves like a puppet on strings, the way that he kicks, especially when he's shadowing, bro, when he's training. But that shit is crazy effective. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not fucking with that shit. Alex Pereira, I respect you, brother. I'm not Anthony Smithing you right now, dude. You're a black belt, bro. You're a black belt, all right, man. But yeah, he does have a kind of goofy style. He got knocked out kind of goofy as well. It was like Andy's coming type knockout. I've got to consider that in the factor. That's another reason why these guys are where they are on the tier list. You know what I'm saying, dude? Alex Pereira got fucking Toy Storied by Israel Adesanya, dude. And speaking of goofy knockouts, goofy fighting style, goofy personality, come on, man. Johnny Walker's in the S tier, bro. What is there to say about this man that hasn't been said? This guy gets knocked out in the most cartoonish, Acme, Roadrunner ass ways I've ever fucking seen, bro. The clip where he gets knocked out 5 times in one fight is fucking absurd, bro. And of course, the way that he fights as well, he fakes being hurt, he does flying knees, he does the worm, he makes those funny faces, he breaks the fourth wall. I don't really have to explain this. Johnny Walker is the goofiest fighter in the UFC, but Tony Ferguson, Dricus, Yuri, these guys are top contenders for that spot. If Dricus gets hit with an Andy's coming type knockout by Alex Pereira, by Izzy, we might have to put him in the S tier, dog. He's close to S tier. But this is my tier list. This is my ranking. Let me know down below, guys. Who do you think is the goofiest fighter in the UFC? What do you think of my opinions on these fighters? Is there any that you disagree with? Is there any that you really agree with? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's make sure you guys subscribe if you're not already. Let's hit 30K. And yeah, go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bedtime MMA. I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Goodbye.